Good evening, everybody. Justin Basinger here from Justin Basinger Photography. And tonight we are going to look at, or today, depending on where you're at, tonight for me, we are going to look at some senior pictures I did tonight. This is of one of my senior clients, Ben. Went out tonight, did some stuff, and I wanted to show you how easy it's going to be for me to edit these using Luminar 3. So we are going to get right into it. I haven't sorted these yet. This is, I just got done adding them to the computer and getting them in here, and so we're going to pick a couple, and I'm going to show you how fast Luminar 3 can process these and get them to a deliverable product, and how easy it is for stuff like that. So I'm just going to go through here. I'm going to pick one of these pictures out here, and we're just going to start there, and we'll continue on. So going through these look pretty good. I actually think I would like to do, well, let's take a look at this one. That way I can show you the AI Sky Enhancer. So this is raw, right out of camera. I have not done anything with this photo yet. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the Quick and Awesome. That's all I'm going to need for this. I'm not going to really need probably a lot. I may put a vignette on there. We'll see what happens. Let's get right into it though. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the accent AI filter. So we're going to bump this up a little bit. So there you can see that it's off. There you can see it's fully on. I don't think I like it fully on, so I'm going to back it off here to about maybe 50%. Yeah, that looks good to me. I like that. And now let's look at the Sky Enhancer. Let's see what this can do here. Let's start moving it back, forth, back, forth. Let's just crank her all the way up. I like it. Gives it a little bit more back there. I'm gonna add a filter here, and I'm gonna add the raw develop module here, and I'm gonna see, I might just pull the highlights back just a little bit. Where are we at there? Yeah, I kind of like that. Adds a little bit extra oomph to it, to that sky. I like it. Hasn't really done too much to the face, so I'm okay with that. Let me look at that again just to make sure. Yeah, it darkens the face a little bit. So in order to compensate for that, I'm just going to bring the exposure up a little bit. Sorry. I don't know if I want half a stop. Probably to about right there. Maybe not quite. Let's try a quarter. Let's just go a quarter. Yeah, that looks better to me. That looks good. That looks pretty well balanced. See, what else should we do? Contrast, that AI filter really helps out, so I don't think I really need to do much with contrast. I think close my filters here. I am going to pull the saturation back just a little bit. Just go back a little bit. Maybe, what do you think? Maybe -10? Let's see what -10 looks like. I am going to do -10 for his face, but this is where it gets pretty cool. This is where I really like it. This is why I like it a little bit more than Lightroom. So I've adjusted the contrast, or excuse me, I've adjusted the saturation. I've got it at -10, so I did lose some of my saturation in the sky, which is something I don't want to do. So now I can go over here, I can click brush, and I can click on erase, and I can go in here. Let me actually change the opacity. I want it at 100% because I want to remove the mask completely. And I can go in here and I can remove all of that and get that saturation back. See, if I paint over his face, it got orange again. So I'm going to go back over and I'm going to paint his face. And I actually might drop this down a little bit more. See, that's if I take the saturation completely out. You can see that my sky, and this is what my part of my workflow is. So I'll pull the saturation back completely, go back into my erase, and I'm going to go back and I'm just going to touch right around there. I'm not worried too much because I am working in a mask, so I'm going to pull. I'm going to have some saturation things, so I can go back in here and paste. Actually, I'm going to take that off. Let's just go back in. Let's go to 50%. I hit done. So this is a 50%. I am going to go back in my saturation vibrance, click my brush again, and I'm going to come back in here and I'm just going to kind of take that off of his face. Whoop. Just going to take that off right there. Take it off of his neck. Take it off his ear. Not too worried. Again, we're working with masks, so this is all non-destructive. So I can go back in and clean up some of these other little areas here that I just want him to be standard black and white. I want everything to be balanced. So then I'm going to go to my erase tool. If I overshoot a little bit on the hair, I'm not too terribly worried. I'm probably going to bring my opacity back up, and I'm going to bring my softness maybe down to, 50%. Let's go 50%. And I'm going to come back in here. There, there's that nice hard line I need. So I'm going to come back around here, and I'm just going to paint this. I don't have my drawing tablet hooked up, so I'm doing this with a mouse, so that's why it's not quite as accurate as it normally would. Unfortunately, my kids kind of destroyed my USB cable for my drawing tablet, so I had to order a new one, and thankfully it will be here tomorrow. So I just want to kind of clean this up, get that out of there. Right there. Again, if I go a little bit over on the hair, not a deal breaker. I'm going to try to keep it as, as easy as possible. Clean this up just a little bit right there too. So there we go. So we got him masked out. Now, another thing that we can do here, right? So we have this mask. Let's just say I want to leave everything else the same, right? So I got this mask. I can click the invert button, right? So I click the invert button and now watch what happens. Now I can do that sky, right? So that's what I really want. If I really want to punch up that sky, right? I can move that saturation up. That's way too powerful. I can mess with vibrance, I don't want to make it too powerful. And actually, I might... So there's that AI boost again, right? So we went from here to here. So I can do this. Now, the thing of it is that I see a little something going on here. So I want to make sure... I hit done here. I want to make sure that I go in here. I'm going to go to 50% again, right? And I am actually going to mask this again. So we're going to go to our brush. And this time, I'm going to turn on the mask, right? So I can turn on this mask and it's going to show me everywhere that I'm currently masking, right? So as I zoom in and out, that will continually update. So I can see, okay, well, I got some stuff on a erase. get some stuff on his shirt here. Let's take this back up again. You do have to change your settings every time you select the brush. They do default back to 50% and 100% softness. I'm actually going to bring that down. 56% is fine. It's close enough. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just get this off of here. Close enough. I'm going to paint. I want to come in here and it overlaps just a little bit on that shirt. That's okay. But this is right here is kind of our problem area. See, we got this hard line here. So I'm actually going to take the zoom and I'm going to go to 100%. I'm going to hit done because I want to be able to move this so I can get in really nice and close. There's my 100%. I'm going to click on my brush tool again. I want to see my mask, right? And I need to kind of paint it in. And let's actually take this, go back to 100. 100% softness. We're going to take it back down to 52 is fine. And it's still going to give me a nice hard line. So I want to make sure that I get this. And then I'm going to come back, do a little erasing. Do a little erasing. Yeah, I'm sorry guys. If I had my drawing tablet, this would be a lot better, but just follow this line. I'm gonna get the back of his head, get these little hairs right there. If it bleeds over, it's not going to be a deal breaker. The software does a really good job of making it look pretty seamless. So let's go back out. Let's zoom back out. Let's go back to 50%. And we'll see what that looks like. Alright. Looks good. So we're going to go back to fit to screen. And I like where we're going. I am going to adjust the white balance just a little bit. Let's go. So right now we're at 62, 66. Let's just look through some of these white balance, see if there's one that we can do a little bit better. So I typically use cloudy, so let's look at cloudy. Not too much of a change. Let's look at daylight. It's okay, but we lost the nice sky back there, so I think what we're gonna do, let's use cloudy. And since I'm in my raw processor, my tint, I think I'm gonna move it a little bit to the pink side. So let's go 15. Ooh, that kind of had a nice little effect there, right? I like it. I like it a lot. So, for the most part, this is done. I think his skin tone, to me, still looks a little saturated. So the nice thing I can do is I go in here, and I'm going to pick another saturation and vibrance. This is what I love about this. You can work with all these different layers. You can double up on your filters and use those filters independently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the saturation and vibrance and I am going to bring it down to where I think his skin tone should be. And I'm going to pull, let me look at some of the vibrance. I like his skin tone. I like the tone that we have going on here. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to go to brush, right? And our mask, we're going to view our mask. And since we haven't done anything yet, it's not going to show up. I'm going to move this to 100. I'm going to take my softness and I'm going to bring it down to 50%. And I'm going to paint my mask on. And I'm going to paint it ever so terribly. Right there. And I'm going to come back again. If it bleeds over just a little bit, I'm not really worried too much about the hair and stuff like that. It's more the skin tone, right? So I'm going to take the mask off. And I'm just going to kind of go around. Oh, I'm sorry. I was erasing it, now I want to paint it. I'm just going to kind of paint on his face, paint on his neck here. Just real gently. Now, see that, now, when I take this, right? So now, too much, not enough, right? So now I can actually balance it out just a little bit more to make it kind of blend a little bit better with the scene. So I'm going to take the saturation. I might take this, let's put the vibrance back at 0. And I'm just going to play with that until it gets to, I don't want to take a lot out, just enough, right? Just enough. I'm at -5. So if I take this off, take it on, off, on, it's very subtle. I might bring it down. Let's just try -10. Looks good to me. Okay, so now we're going to fit it. Let's fit it to the screen. And you know what? I think this image could probably use a little bit of a vignette. So I'm going to go to my add filters. I'm going to go to vignette. And I always darken it 100% so I can get the look that I like, and I always tweak it in from there. So I take my size and I'm going to bring my size. I want it a little bit, I want it kind of small. Let's take it all the way down. So we have roundness we can play with a little bit. I like to leave mine just a little bit more oval shaped. We can adjust the feather, and I want kind of a really nice soft feather, so I always use it at 100. And then we have this wonderful inner light. We're going to play with that a little bit in just a second. My center, I want it to be focused around his face, so I got to find my happy medium, right? So because what happens is we do this inner light, and not much, just a little touch, and then now I'm going to go back and I'm going to adjust my vignette from there. So that's all I'm going to do. Just a tiny about, it's barely even noticeable. I'm at -57. That might even be a little too dark. So let's go -36, right? So that's after, this is after the vignette, before, after, before, after. The inner light, I think, is just a little bit too bright too, so I'm going to bring this back down to 10. Before, after, before, after. It just helps kind of darken those edges out a little bit. And this is kind of the finished product. I'm good with this. This is a delivered image. You know, you can see, I'll show you. Let's take my filters off. I'm done with my vignette. And let's see the before and after. So this is after. That's where we started from, and that's where we finished, right? So if you look at that side by side, right? So this is after. Look at what you can do with that sky. Look at what you can do with that sky. Look at that. Very few steps. I took a little bit of extra time because I was actually showing you what was going on. But once you get this down, very few steps. You go from a background, a sky that is almost purely white, to that. I didn't Photoshop it. I didn't put a different sky in. That was already there. Just by using the tools in Luminar 3, I was able to pull that information back from that. I don't know. You guys make your own decisions. I know that I like it. I mean, if you look at how this is, watch his shirt too. It's very subtle, but look at how his shirt matches the rest of the picture. Look at that. That's that AI filter, you know, but the skylight filter and the AI filter working together, it matches everything. Look at that. I mean, I'm happy. I'm super excited that Luminar 4 is coming out, because then there's actually some extra portrait retouching. Now with guys, I don't do any skin smoothing or anything like that. I don't really need it. You know, he's got one, I think, right up here. He's got like a little pimple. I'll probably pull it into Photoshop and take that out, because it's a pimple. So not a big deal. I mean, if you want to look at the full image, there's a full image before and after, before and after. I mean, to be able to pull that information out, have it all match, have it all look good, I mean, you just can't beat it. It has drastically improved my workflow. And I don't have a ton of filters over there. You know, I spend time in saturation, vibrance, the sky enhancer, accent filter, and sometimes the raw develop, and that's about it. And even the raw develop, you know, some white balance, tone the highlights down a little bit, tweak the exposure. But I mean, these are all very small values, you know, a quarter of a stop here. The highlights, yeah, I cranked them all the way back down because, you know, the sky was almost white. But, you know, if I would take that, let's just take that highlights off, show you what that looks like. You know, I mean, yeah. That sky lost all of it. I mean, it still looks better than it did before, but it lost that punch. That has punch. That's got nice, you know, it's nice color. It matches very well. If you guys think it's too much too, I mean, overall, you can just go back and, you know, if I say I only want it at 50%, I could do it at 50%. Well, 55% right now. But, you know, it starts looking in that kind of that bland image again. So, you know, just pick it back up to 100. That's why I know what it is. I can't argue with it. So you guys draw your own conclusions. This is my go-to now for this type of editing. It's faster, it's easier, it gives me the results I need very quickly. And, you know, if I like this look, I can now that I have this image all tweaked in, I can now take these settings and copy them to the rest of the series here, and I'll get the same result, right? So let's do that. I'm going to go to Adjustments, Copy Adjustments, and I'm going to go to this image right here. There we go. Now see, that one thing that you have to be careful of, you can see here and here and on his face. So our mask needs to be redone. Again, go to my brush, click my mask on because I want to see what's going on here. I want my opacity back up at 100%. Let's take my softness back down a little bit there. 60, that's fine. 67 is fine. So I want to go back in here, right? And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just got to be close. Hit my erase button, come in here, just being very mindful and kind of follow the contours, right? Just find his face again, come back down here, go back to paint, kind of bring it around. The big thing is I don't want it on his skin tones, right? Because I have a separate one for that, right? So this is pretty close. Do have a little bit over here I need to fix. A little bit over there. All right. So I can take my mask off. Take a look at. Looks like I got a little bit bleeding right here. Let's just make sure I get that done. Alright, and so the next thing I need to do is go back here with this saturation and vibrate. Oh, let's hit done. Done with that one. So I need to go back in here turn my mask back on. So, and I need to erase this. Oh, sorry. 100%. And paint, I'm going to take the size down just a little bit. And I'm just going to paint this right back there. Again, the software, if you overbleed just a little bit, the software is very, very forgiving. So normally, like I said, I have a drawing tablet. I use the drawing tablet, but I'm not, because I don't have that ability right now, so I'm just using a mouse. So there we go. Again, after, before, after, before, after, before, after. And just a quick few steps. So I can keep doing that. Yes, I have to redo the masks. I don't have to redo all my filters every single time. All I have to do is adjust the masks. So I can do one photo in a series, and then I can just adjust the masks for all the rest of the photos. You know, it's a nice thing to be able to do. You guys get the idea. You know what I'm talking about. I've rambled on enough. Luminar 3, you can't go wrong with it. You know, you can get it now. They have it discounted. You can go over to skyloom.com, check it out. But Luminar 4 is coming out November 18th. You know, that's only 17 more days. So if you want to wait, you can. But if you want to get into it and start learning it now, I highly recommend get the discounted price. I mean, it's what, $100. You get Luminar 3. You get all these Luminar looks, you know, which I haven't even really played with that much because I haven't felt the need to. Maybe I'll get creative one day and, you know, go through them and stuff like that. But with what I have here, I haven't felt that I need to do that yet. So you get all that, plus you get Luminar 4 for $100. I actually think if you pre-order it now, they have Luminar 4, it's $89. You know, there's an AI sky replacer that's going to be in there. There's portrait retouching stuff. Check it out. Go look at it. Go to Skyloom's website. Check out Luminar 4. It's a great software to have, and it has now become part of my workflow because I really love what it does and what it can do for my photos. Once again, Justin Basinger from Justin Basinger Photography. If you like what you see, feel free to comment, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, I'm sorry. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for coming. That's it for me. Take care of yourselves, and I will catch you later. Take care, everybody.